Welcome back, listeners. You are plugged into the deep dive.
That's right.
And today we're going to be going into a really interesting market, I think, the protein analyzer market.
Oh, yeah.
We've got this really detailed market report here, kind of a
Hmm.
deep dive, kind of what we do here.
Yep.
But we're going to be talking about the protein analyzer market and, where it's going and how fast it's growing and what's kind of driving everything.
Yeah. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, what are the real insights of this market? A
Yeah.
lot of people, don't really know much about this market,
Yeah.
so it'll be a good one to dig into.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows about protein. Everybody eats it. But, how do you analyze that?
Right.
There's a whole market behind that. So, starting with the big picture, in 2025, the global protein analyzer market is projected to be worth 300 and 946 million US dollars.
Wow.
But get this, by 2033, that number is expected to almost double, reaching 705.13 million US dollars.
Well,
So that's a huge jump. That's a CAGR, or compound annual growth rate of 8.9% from 2025.
that's serious growth.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's driving that, and I think we want to get into what's causing that.
Absolutely. I mean, you see a number like that, you have to wonder what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And the report points to a pretty clear driver.
You okay?
Increased demand from the food and beverages industry.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's not just, more people eating or anything like that. It's a lot of evolving consumer
Yeah.
preferences, stricter regulations on, what goes into food,
Uh-huh.
and all this is driving the need for these protein analyzers.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's break it down by region.
Okay.
Starting with North America,
Right.
good old North America.
Well, they're a dominant force actually in this market, anticipated to have over 40% of the global market share. Yeah. Their market size in 2025 is projected to be $460.02 million. And even with that huge market share, they're still going to have a strong CGR of 7.4% through 2033.
So still growing.
Yeah.
Still a good place to be if you're in the protein analyzer market.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And specifically the U.S., we're looking at $1,151.96 million market in 2025, growing at 7.2%.
Hmm.
And the report highlights a key factor here, which is increased R&D investment.
Hmm.
So they're not just sitting on their laurels, right?
Right.
They're continuing to invest in research and development, which means that we can probably expect some pretty cool new technologies to come out, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that R&D, it's not happening in a vacuum.
Yeah.
It's driven by the need for more and more precise, more efficient analysis, and it's needed across many, many sectors. And
Yeah.
you know what? It's not just the U.S.
Okay.
Canada is projected to have a market of $175.2 million in 2025 with a slightly higher CAGR of 8.2%. And the main engine for growth there is increasing activity in their food and beverage sector.
Okay.
And then there's Mexico
Okay.
with a $132.86 million market
Okay.
and a CAGR of 7.9%. So, I mean, all across North America, you're seeing pretty solid growth in this market.
So North America, definitely a powerhouse when it comes to the protein analyzer market.
It seems so, yeah.
But what's really behind all of this? What's driving them to be so strong in this market?
Well, I think it's a couple of things, really. First, there's the rise of health consciousness.
Huh.
People are really paying attention to their diet.
Yeah.
You see all these fitness trends.
Yeah.
And, especially the consumption of protein supplements. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, it's going way up.
Yes.
And that, of course, leads to a need for accurate protein analysis
Mm.
because people want to know what they're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to make sure that the quality's there, that the content is what it says it is. Yeah.
The report even mentions a 2020 U.S. survey. 31% of consumers said they were increasing their protein supplement intake.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a lot of protein powder.
That's a lot of protein powder.
Okay, well, let's hop across the Atlantic.
Okay.
Let's go to Europe.
Right.
Now, Europe is the second largest market, holding over 30% of the global revenue.
Mm-hmm.
They have a projected market size in 2025 of 1,144.34 million, with a KGR of 7.9%.
Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. So who are the big players in Europe?
Well, the UK definitely stands out.
Okay.
They've got a projected market size of $192.25 million and a really strong CGR of 8.7%.
Wow.
And it's interesting because the report points to the increasing demand from the pharmaceutical industry as a key driver there.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different from the U.S. where it's mostly focused on food and beverage.
Yeah, yeah.
This shows you how diverse this technology is. It's not just about what we eat.
Yeah, I guess if you're in pharmaceuticals, you need to know exactly, how much protein's in whatever you're making.
Exactly, it's got to be precise.
Yeah. What about some of the other countries in Europe?
Yeah, well, France has a $105.28 million market,
Okay.
a 7.1% CAGR.
Okay.
Germany's doing really well, 226.58 million
Wow.
with an 8.1% CAGR. And you see a familiar theme there. The strong food and feed industry is driving a lot of that growth,
Oh, yeah.
similar to what we saw in North America.
Uh-huh.
And, the report also mentions Russia.
Okay.
$177.37 million market, 6.9% CAGR.
Okay.
Italy at $98.41 million,
Okay.
7.3%.
Okay.
Spain at $93.84 million, 7%. So, I mean, you see it's pretty diverse across Europe, different countries, different levels of growth, but it's all, moving in the same direction.
So, overall, though, what's driving all this growth in Europe?
Well, similar to North America, protein supplements are becoming increasingly popular due to, health trends. People are looking for those healthy lifestyles.
Yeah.
But the report also talks about the advancements in the protein analysis techniques themselves.
Okay.
So it's not just about, more people wanting to analyze protein. It's also that the ways to analyze protein are getting better.
Okay.
So think about precision fermentation. That's where, microorganisms are used to create specific proteins. So you need sophisticated analysis to make sure everything's pure,
Okay.
make sure the quality's there.
Uh-huh.
We're also seeing, better analytical tools
Okay.
just becoming available in general.
Okay.
And then finally, Europe has really, really strict regulations
Yeah.
when it comes to food quality.
Yeah.
And that requires accurate protein analysis because, the food industry has to make sure it's meeting those regulations.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about North America. We've talked about Europe. Let's shift gears to Asia Pacific.
Okay.
APAC.
APAC, a really interesting region.
Yeah. So APAC accounts for around 23% of the global market,
Okay.
with a projected market size of 947.04 million in 2025. But here's the big number. They have a CGR of 11.7% from 2025 to 2033.
Wow.
So that's the highest growth rate of any region.
Yeah, they're really taking off.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's driving this big expansion in APAC?
Well, China's a big part of it.
Yeah.
They've got a projected market size of 397.76 million in 2025 and a CAGR of 11.2%.
Okay, so still double digit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very strong growth.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that the report highlights the growing fertilizer industry as a key driver there.
Okay.
So that shows you that protein analysis isn't just about, what people are eating.
Right.
It has applications in other areas too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the other players in APAC?
Yeah, well, India is showing some really, really strong growth.
Okay.
They actually have the highest national FIGR at 13.6% and a market size of $94.7 million in 2025.
Okay.
And Japan is another big market, 130.69 million
Okay.
with a 10.2% CAGR.
Okay.
And South Korea, 113.64 million with a 10.8% CGR.
So strong growth all over APAC.
Yeah, across the board.
And what are the main reasons behind this?
Well, some of the trends we've already talked about are definitely playing a role.
Okay.
Increased health consciousness,
Yep.
growing demand for, foods with protein.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is also the rapid advancements and adoption of sophisticated analysis technologies.
Okay.
So they're not just using these technologies;
Yeah.
they're actually, developing them as well.
Okay. So they're at the forefront.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, let's go to South America now.
All right.
South America holds a market share of over 5%.
Okay.
With a projected size of 149.95 million in 2025.
Okay.
CGR of 9.6%. And Brazil is the leader there with a projected market size of 64.18 million in 2025 and a CAGR of 10.2%.
Okay.
And Argentina's right behind them at 25.19 million,
Okay.
and a slightly higher CGR of 10.5%.
Okay.
Now, in Argentina, they've got some increasing regulatory requirements that are driving that.
Okay, so regulations are playing a role there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So overall in South America, it's really a mix of market demand and then also the government kind of pushing things along.
Yeah, a combination of factors.
Yeah.
It sounds like. And I mean the core growth drivers, they're similar to what we've seen in other regions, right? That
Yeah.
health awareness, the demand for foods with protein, but then you add in the technological progress and the analysis itself, and then these stricter regulations, especially in a place like Argentina. And that all adds up to some pretty impressive growth.
Okay, let's move on to the Middle East. So the Middle East accounts for around 2% of the global market share, with a projected size of 157.84 million in 2025 and a CGR of 10.2%.
Okay.
And Saudi Arabia is a big market there at 55.56 million, with a CAGR of 10.5%.
Okay.
And the UAE is at 32.52 million, with a 10.7% CGR.
Okay. So, I mean, steady growth, I guess you could say, across the Middle East.
Yeah, yeah. And what's driving all that?
Well, the report mentions rising health awareness
Okay.
and a growing demand for products that have protein added to them.
Okay.
And you also have those advancements in the technologies used for analysis.
Okay.
And then a lot of increasing need to meet regulatory standards.
Yeah, okay. Last but not least, let's go to Africa.
Okay.
So Africa is the smallest market we've looked at, holding about 1% of the global market share, with a projected size of 86.81 million in 2025 and a TGR of 9.2%.
Okay.
South Africa is the biggest market there at 30.56 million,
Okay.
10.1% CGR. And Nigeria is a smaller market at 6.94 million, but they have a CGR of 9.4%.
Okay.
And they're actually investing in a lot of advanced technologies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. So it seems like Africa and the Middle East, they have a lot of the same kind of drivers going on.
Yeah, yeah. Those recurring themes, definitely.
Yeah. So it's the focus on health, the demand for protein, the new technologies that are coming out, and of course the regulations.
Absolutely. It's all playing a part.
Okay. So we've gone through all the regions. We've got a pretty good picture of the global landscape.
We do.
Let's go a little deeper now and look at how the market is segmented by, the type of product used for analysis.
All right.
So the report suggests that protein analyzers, as a general category, are going to be the largest share of the market, and this makes sense because they're really accurate, especially when you consider methods like NIR, near-infrared spectroscopy, which uses light to analyze the composition, and the Dumas method, which involves combustion to measure nitrogen content.
Right.
These are tried and true. These are reliable, and in a lot of cases, faster than some of the older techniques, like the Phi-Delta method.
Oh yeah, definitely. Speed is key.
Yeah. So it's the speed and the precision of these protein analyzers that are making them the go-to. What about some of the other products out there?
Yeah, well, automatic analyzers are seeing the most rapid growth in terms of product type.
Okay.
So these are really sophisticated instruments
Okay.
that are designed to evaluate protein samples for a bunch of different characteristics. So their molecular weight, their concentration, their purity, even the amino acid composition.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty advanced stuff. And they use a range of techniques. Chromatography is a big one. That's great for separating different types of proteins.
Yeah.
And then, you still see the Kaldal, the NIR, the Dumas methods being used.
Okay.
But the key here is automation.
Okay.
Because it ensures greater consistency in the results.
Okay.
And it really cuts down on the manual work that has to be done. So it makes labs a lot more efficient.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, automation, it's everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
In every industry.
Yeah. Makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the market from the perspective of the technique now.
Okay.
So the analytical technique.
Okay.
And according to the report, the Dumas technique is holding the largest market share when we're talking about specific analysis methods. Now, as you mentioned, this involves high temperature combustion of the sample in an oxygen-rich environment.
Yep.
So the process basically releases nitrogen, which is then separated and measured to determine the protein content. And Dumas is popular because it's fast, it's accurate, and you can automate it.
Yeah, it's a really good method.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can often get results in just a few minutes, which is a huge advantage.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody wants to wait around for hours or days.
Yeah.
Yeah, the faster the better.
Okay. Now, what are some other techniques that are being used?
Well, chromatography is a big one.
Okay.
It's a segment that's seeing a lot of growth,
Okay.
and there have been a lot of advancements in chromatography technologies lately.
Okay.
They're developing more effective stationary phases.
Okay.
That's the material that's used to separate the molecules.
Mm.
You've got more sensitive detection methods.
Okay.
And as we talked about before, chromatography is increasingly being integrated with uh, automation
Okay.
and robotic systems.
Yeah.
So that's really boosting the speed and consistency of the analyses.
Okay, so it's becoming more efficient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More and more applications for it.
Okay. So while Dumas is the leader, chromatography's nipping at its heels.
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
Yeah. Okay, well let's think about who is using all of this. Who are the end users?
Okay.
So the main end users. And right now the food and feed industry is the largest segment.
Okay.
And this is driven by, people wanting more protein in their diets,
Yeah.
which means food manufacturers have to be able to verify their nutritional claims.
Right.
And the food and feed industries also have to deal with a lot of regulations.
Oh, yeah.
So they need protein analysis to make sure they're complying,
Mm-hmm.
and, of course, to make sure that everything is safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Safety's paramount.
Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. It all ties back to the big market growth being driven by the food and beverage sector.
Yeah, it all connects.
What about some of the other end users?
Well, the pharmaceutical sector is growing really fast
Okay.
as an end user.
Okay.
And, with everyone focused on drug discovery and development, you need to be able to analyze proteins accurately.
Yeah.
Because you've got to identify drug targets, you've got to validate them, and you've got to make sure that the pharmaceutical products themselves are consistent
Yeah.
and safe.
Right.
So all that requires protein analysis. And the innovations in analysis technologies, especially the advancements in chromatography and automation, they're really helping the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Especially when you need, those really high throughput and accurate analyses that they need in pharmaceutical research.
Okay, so food and feed is the biggest, but pharma is coming up strong.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch.
Okay, well, let's step back now and look at the bigger picture, the market dynamics.
Okay.
What are the forces that are shaping all of this?
Well, we've already talked about a lot of them, but the report really emphasizes the rising global demand for protein-rich foods, the focus on food safety, high-quality standards, and, of course, the constant advancements in technology. All that's pushing the market forward.
Okay. Are there any, roadblocks, anything holding the market back?
Well, there are a couple of restraints that the report identifies. First, it's expensive.
Okay.
The instrumentation is sophisticated.
Yeah.
And that means it costs a lot to buy.
Yeah.
Costs a lot to maintain, costs a lot to operate.
Yeah.
And then, the regulations are also a bit of a hurdle.
Okay.
Because they're complex, they're stringent, and, it can be tough for companies to comply. It can take a lot of investment.
Okay. So money and the government, the two big obstacles.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Well, looking ahead, what are some of the trends that we can expect to see in the future?
Well, the biotech and pharmaceutical industries are continuing to grow.
Okay.
And that's a big trend because it's going to fuel even more demand for these advanced tools.
Okay.
And, companies are constantly innovating. So we're going to see analyzers that are even more accurate, even faster, and even easier to use.
Okay.
So, the future is looking pretty bright for this technology.
All right. Well, let's talk about the competitive landscape.
Okay.
So who are the big players and what are they doing?
Well, it's a competitive market.
Okay.
A lot of key companies are really focused on those technological advancements, on developing new products, and on forming strategic partnerships.
Okay.
And as we've talked about, the big focus is on accuracy, speed, and user friendliness.
Makes sense. Now, the report gives us a couple of examples, right?
Yeah, it does. For example, in May 2023, Redshift Bioanalytics, they acquired the Tridex protein analyzer,
Okay.
which they're now calling their Halcon analyzer.
Okay.
And it's a liquid chromatography platform
Okay.
that's designed to give you protein titer results more quickly and easily and cheaply than traditional HPLC,
Okay.
high performance liquid chromatography.
Okay.
And it's made to really integrate well into bioprocessing workflows.
Okay.
And then in November 2023, Valio, which is a big player in the dairy industry, they launched a new milk protein concentrate
Okay.
called Valio Isla MPC 65.
Okay.
And this really shows how the food industry is, continuing to innovate
Yeah.
to meet the demand for high protein products.
Yeah.
And they're using their expertise in lactose-free products to do that.
Okay.
So you see how these two things are connected, right?
Yeah.
The technology is advancing,
And then the products are advancing as well.
So they're kind of feeding off of each other.
Exactly. One drives the other.
All right, well, let's bring this deep dive into the protein analyzer market to a close.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways? What do we want our listeners to remember?
Well, the growth is really significant.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the food and beverage industry's role in it.
Yeah.
And it's strong growth across the board in every region.
Yeah.
But APAC is really exploding.
Yeah.
With that double-digit CAGR.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while protein analyzers in general and the Dumas technique, they're the current leaders, we're seeing a lot of growth in automatic analyzers.
Yeah.
And the pharmaceutical industry is really starting to use these technologies a lot more.
Okay. And what's making it all happen?
Well, it all boils down to the demand for protein,
Okay.
the need for food safety,
And the incredible advancements in the technology itself. But of course, you've also got the costs and the regulations to consider. So
Yeah.
it's not all